Come and get started on a new mission, a new direction, a new intention. Welcome to 5.8G Alive at Connections 50 Plus. I am Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, catering to all your prospects in the third act of life.
Economic well-being, social gratification, personal fulfillment.
Join us on Wednesday at 6 p.m. on Connections 50 Plus Facebook page, YouTube channel,
and on Gael the Caribbean. Hello and good evening. Welcome to 5.8G Alive, your evening magazine program where we in the 5.8G, that's the 50 to 80 generation, get together to talk about things that interest us and keep us happy and alive. I'm Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite, one of the co-creators of Connections 50 Plus, which brings you 5.8G Alive. Yes, there's another one. That's why we are co-creator. Jennifer again is not on. Don't worry, you'll soon see Jennifer. She is off with a fantastic interview, another one in our series of Life Beyond the Jubilee, where we are talking about how our cohort has been transitioning, not over yonder, but from the second act to the third act and the success that we have. So today, like last week, we had that phenomenal guest, Brian Lewis, and many of you all have given us so much really good feedback on our interview with Brian. Well, we're going again, topping it. And for some reason, I just feel like singing. Taking this interview Jennifer is having with one of the diamonds in our society. And I'll not tell you who it is, but you'll feel like singing too when we're done. So be in tune.
So, we have told you that we are having a special guest this evening. And as you see on the screen, we have this special lady with us. Some of you all may already know her, but just in case, let me introduce Lorraine Granderson. And Lauren is a retired teacher from Bishop Ansi High School. Lauren also very much in music. She's a former musical director with the Lithians and now has her own choir. And the choir is a Port of Spain youth choir. So take it from here and you will know, for those who don't know Lorraine, will know all about her now. And just to remind you, for this month, our theme is Life Beyond the Golden Jubilee. And when we talk about Beyond the Golden Jubilee, we have been speaking with our guest who, as you will know, over 50, past 60, a dating Lauren. I'm not sure, Lauren. I hope I'm right, or just about 60. You know, going into this stage, as we said, the third act stage, and could share with us the experience and still doing wonders. You know, so Lauren, talk to us. Tell us a bit about yourself and, you know, where you are at this stage.
Oh gosh, I don't even know where to start. Well, if you're talking about my musical journey, yeah.
Okay, so we can start with that, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
it started as a young child, really. I was born in Belmont. I went to a kindergarten school called Sacred Heart Foundation, and anybody from Belmont listening would be familiar with the name Mrs. Anita Simmons. And those were some of my earliest experiences on a stage as a little person. She was an amazing teacher. She had us children doing all sorts of things that we had never heard about, creative dance and East Indian dance. And I'm talking about in the early 60s, when we didn't even have television as yet. When my mother bought a piano and sent us all to take piano lessons, which I dutifully did until I was well into my teens. So I sing. Well, I used to sing at any rate more. And so that's where it started. in primary school, there wasn't too much of it. But certainly when I went into high school, I went to Bishop Anstey High School, and that was really where I got involved a lot more into singing. I joined the choir, sang the music festival, you name it, I did it at school. When I was finished with school, I always wanted to teach. And so I applied to teach. And after about a year and a half or thereabouts, I worked in the media while waiting to teach. Very interesting. So I worked with an advertising agency and I wrote commercials and did all sorts of stuff. I worked at a radio station, used to be 610 radio back in those days, and Radio 100. Then the ministry called me and I happily went off to teach. And my first school actually was St. Philip's Government School, which I'm sure most people don't even know.
I was just about to ask you that because I'm not familiar with that name.
It is, when you're going over the flyover from, Brian Promenade, from there into the flyover, there's a building right on top of that hill.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
now you know it. Well, that's a primary school, St. Philip's Government Primary School.
I know where is it, right.
So
And I must say, because last week we had a Belmont boy on who was really talking a lot about Belmont. And here we have you now also from Belmont. So
Great
I
place.
do recall that school, yes.
And so that was my first school. It was a bit of an education, to say the least. But when Music Festival rolled around, the most natural thing to start a choir. I never knew anything about a choir. I just left school. All I knew was what I learned from my music teacher, Mrs. Joyce Spence, who incidentally is the founder of the Lydians way back in the 70s.
Wow.
Yeah. And so yes, the school had no instrument. They had no piano, no keyboard. I don't know if keyboards were invented in the early 70s.
Okay.
I have no idea, but I certainly was not aware that keyboards existed. The schoolyard was like, I always refer to it as a dust bowl because it was like dirt and boulders.
Yeah, and
But
that what the school you referred to in those days would be, well, now you'll say from the depressed area.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. But that was what it was. And I taught the children the song. In those days, I was young and I had, younger. I was younger and had almost perfect pitch. So I was able to teach them the song off of my voice.
Wow.
And it was really interesting. Those children knew nothing about nothing except their little narrow world up in Picton or on the Beacon or wherever they lived.
Yeah.
Or sea lots. I think many of them lived in sea lots. And it was an amazing experience. We didn't win. We actually got into the finals and got the 5th highest mark.
Great. I'm sure they were excited about that.
We were terribly excited. Yeah. And from there, I just moved on, went into teachers training college, just before UE, and just continued my musical ways. And then I went to Diamond Vale Government, which is where we would have met.
Yes.
And I remember that Mrs. Pinder, who was the principal, she was the first principal, knew that I was interested in music, and she was a very forward-thinking, innovative principal. Yes. And she knew she had a vision. And so she asked me if I would come there to teach music. There was another guy who she asked him if he would go there to teach science. So back in those days, and I'm talking about late 70s, early 80s,
yeah,
I taught music only in a primary school. And
but let me go back a bit, Lorraine. You mentioned, you went to training college and you went UE. Did you do music there at the educational as your degree, or did you study music at all?
Yes,
at those institutions?
Yeah, at UE. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that is how the journey unfolded. So of course I did the same thing, started a choir, we went to festival, and amazingly, we won the primary school category, and that was unheard of back in those days because only schools like Bishop's Junior and so on.
It's more
would
the,
win.
as you say, the prestige schools,
Well,
not the government primary schools.
The private primary schools. I
The
prefer
private,
to,
yeah.
yeah, you know, so it was really quite an amazing achievement.
Great.
And then from there, actually from there, I went into the Ministry of Education. At the time, they had a program where they employed specialist teachers they called us facilitators, subject facilitators.
Okay.
And we were supposed to go into the 56 primary schools to create magic. That's how I always think about it. And of course, music being the underserved, undervalued area that it has always been and still continues to be. It was just me one. In the other, there were different, you know, like math and English and so on.
Right.
There was more than one, but with music, no, it was me only to service 69 schools. Of course, an impossible feat.
Yeah.
I was only allowed to do like one workshop a term with teachers, where and the other subjects, and it was a one-day workshop. The other subjects had, you know, math. Well, of course, you have to have a week or whatever, English, but we said, no, you just need one day. But what I discovered in traveling around to the schools, Jennifer, and I really found this was so interesting, that in almost every school that I visited, there was at least one teacher who had enough music from their childhood, their past, whatever, that could have been pulled out of the classroom to teach music only, just like I was allowed to teach music only.
Tell me something, in those days, did they have, for the secondary schools, did they have music for exams? Did they actually do music?
Like for CXC?
Yeah, in those days.
Yes, actually, Cambridge had music.
Cambridge, yeah, okay.
Yes, you could have done it at Cambridge. I had signed up to do it when I was in high school. But of course, it was just few students who would have done music. Yeah. But CXC actually started a music exam as a subject in 1999.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually taught that first set because by that time I was in high school teaching.
Okay.
And then they started doing the Cape music. Well, it's not totally music, it's like performing arts. So they do drama, they do dance, they do music, they do it as a business, you know, the business of music kind of thing. That started a few years ago. So yes, music is, you know, it's on the syllabus.
But fairly recent. I mean, when you're talking about the time it started, when CXC started to now, you know, compared to the other subjects. So,
well,
and so you could really refer to you as a pioneer in that field.
I wouldn't call myself a pioneer. I think though we continue to pay lip service to the musical arts. You know, I listen to all the commentators and people talking about the value of sport and football and all of these things. And yes, I agree. But the performing arts are of equal, and I dare say, if I may be so bold to say, of more importance, maybe, but certainly of equal importance, because music and art and drama and dance, those things touch the soul of the person, of the human, right? I always say that if children at preschool and primary school had a good music foundation and just singing, just the joy of singing together, they would be hard pressed to take up a knife or a gun and kill people cold-bloodedly. I am convinced of that. But that is
why do you think that, let me put it this way, the powers that be, that's what we say, don't see the importance of music, you know, in the development of the children?
I am really not sure what is the answer. We all talk about how important music is. But as I said, we pay lip service. So like if you're in a school and there's a function, you trot out some music.
Yeah.
Right? But in terms of a developmental tool to use as part of educating a child, I don't think we understand how effective it can be. For example, in a primary school, just a simple song like, I know, Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Yeah.
There's so many things that you can teach apart from teaching them how to sing. You're teaching language, past tense, you're teaching vocabulary, you're teaching comprehension, right? You're teaching social studies. So there are lots of things on the various subject areas that you can teach children off of one song.
Yeah.
And well, I don't know. I think, and in my personal experience, in my journey, I have realized that even teachers don't understand. They think that you don't teach, that you are having fun and children are just singing. So, you don't have to.
That's very true.
Use all the skills and all the planning and all that stuff that they have to do. So they look at it as a sort of frivolous. Maybe frivolous is the wrong way, but you understand what I'm saying. It's not as important. And you, as music teachers, you have to be passionate about what you believe in terms of music. And I would like to think that people who go into teaching music have a passion.
Definitely.
And they have an understanding of of the power of music, and you have to fight for it. You can't just sit back and say, well, oh, the principal this or the teacher that. No, you have to demand your space, and you have to drag those children kicking and screaming into loving it. And children we all like music.
Oh, yes. I recall during the online classes, and my granddaughter just turned 5 and started the primary school. Her start was online. And the teacher, of course, having these children, it was primary school, and she had all these kids who haven't been into a classroom to keep them, still at stages to teach them. And after, I would say, after about a half an hour, she will have them stand and dance and sing a little jingle. And you would see the difference in these children. It changed the mood completely.
Yeah.
After they will sit and listen again. And that was done throughout the day. She had time in, time out. They will sing, time out, they will dance. And it worked. It's a big, big difference with that change of mood. So I'm totally in agreement with you on that. And hopefully, I think though, I am seeing, my daughters are big now, so I'm dealing with grands. Seeing a bit of that recognition that yes, music and the arts, the performing arts make a difference with the children in terms of their discipline, how they communicate, as before. So I recall also when my daughter, and thank to you, I always call your name Lorraine, because you were very, very influential in terms of having her do that music and focusing on that. And I wanted her to do that music because I found she had that creative mind. And someone, mentioned to me, more than one person, why you have her doing music? You understand? Like if that is like nothing, that is like a pastime. Yeah. So, we really need we have to change our thinking and how we see the performing arts. Yeah.
It's interesting because I have seen a couple of my students. There are two in particular who have made it in terms of national recognition, in terms of their music. Both of them boys coming out of Diamondville Government Primary School. One was who we call now Remy Rambunchan, Roland Yearwood.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, Roland was a little boy and I put him on stage for the first time. And he just lit up. I always remember, and whenever I see him, he called me my favorite teacher and he gave me a big hug and a kiss, right? And then there's Sion Gomez, who is an arranger, piano arranger.
Mhm.
I remember when he was about 16, he was about 16. I had started the steel band at Diamondville and I needed a drummer. None of the children had the skills as yet. And he used to come to pick up his younger siblings and he'd always come by the music room. And I said to him, Sion, what do you do on a Friday afternoon after school? Just nothing, miss. I said, you wouldn't like to come and play drums for these children? And he looked at me and then he said, okay, miss, listen, I was so shocked because it was a 16-year-old boy on a Friday afternoon to come in a primary school to drum for little children. But he came.
That is what he's passionate about. Yeah.
And to go further in chatting, because I chat with young people, and in chatting with him, I discovered that he had ideas in terms of arranging songs and so on. So I said, well, listen, the band is here, they are yours, feel free. And that is how Sion started arranging, and look at where he is today. He did the program at UWI, he went to Northern Illinois, he's now teaching music at UTT, and he is a well-established, well-known arranger. And let me tell you,
important for them to have that mentor. Yeah.
People discouraged him and his parents. What, you letting him go and do music? But I have nothing to gain in that. And they supported him, and that's the important thing. They supported him, and that is where he is today. And there are other children whose names I can call, so that you never know where the fruits will come, right? When I was at Bishop's, I had taken my choir. We traveled the world over about a 15-year period. So we've been to Wales, to the Stedford, we went to Europe, we went to South Africa. And one of the things I recognized from the first trip we made back in 2005 was, you figure you're from this little island and we are in this little island and we are, just trudging along with our little music. Yeah. And when I decided to take these children to an international competition in Wales, we were the only choir representing our part of the world, certainly the Caribbean, the only choir. We were one of two, I think, Black choirs. There was a choir from South Africa, and there was us. The US would have had mixed, and then there were people from India, China, all those, and of course, all the European countries. And there we were, a bunch of little high school children. And I realized that, you know what? We are as good as and better than many people in the world. And we shortchange ourselves, we shortchange our children when we let them feel that what is out there is better than what we have and who we are. And I think that is one of the things that my girls learned.
Yeah. Actually, I was about to ask you, how did you decide? I mean, no choir has ever gone representing, well, I don't representing Trinidad or representing your school, going as far as Wales, to sing. What made you feel that you could compete worldwide? Let me say world, internationally.
I guess because I'm a dreamer and a little bit of a crazy person. Well, I have to be a little crazy to make that kind of decision because it was not cheap. Having been going through music festival, the music festival is no longer what it was. It was certainly much more used, like more schools enter the festival.
Yeah.
But we had been winning the festival since 1996. Every 2 years, we would win the championship, and we kept coming up against the same schools. And I thought, all this competition, yeah, you win, so what, kind of thing. And I wanted to go out there and give these children a different experience.
Right.
And there was a teacher at my school who's actually, I think he was Welsh. And I asked him if he knew about anything. And he told me about the ice Stepford. So I wrote, I applied, I sent in an audition because I had to record the children, send in the audition, and got accepted. Then when we got accepted, I said, well, okay, we're doing. Call the parents together. I said, parents, this is the situation. We got accepted to this competition. Of course, it was, I think at the time it was like about $28,000 per child.
You have to do some serious fundraising.
Listen to me. That's where the craziness comes in. I said, yeah, we're going, and I think we agreed, because it was so long ago, but I think we agreed at the time that each parent would pay like about $6,000 or $7,000, and we would fundraise the rest. Well, I needn't tell you that parents dutifully paid their 6 or 7 or whatever it was. And there was no fundraising of, no, well, we did have a concert.
Yeah.
And it raised some money, but nowhere near.
Yeah, the targeted amount.
No, uncle. And it was me alone. I had no help, no nothing, nobody to bounce ideas off, me and my crazy dreams. And then one day a teacher passed by my desk, said, hey, hi, how you going? And this was not a teacher that we had any big relation with, but she just, I think the Lord sent her to stop. And she said to me, you need help? And I looked at her and I said, sure, you want to help? Okay. And talk about a match made in heaven. Because she was totally organized. She was into the computer and she knew all of that stuff. And it freed me up to deal with the music and the children and so on and so on. But still there was no money coming in. But I always, plenty. I always told the children, I said, listen, you always have to do your best in whatever you do. And when you set a standard and you maintain your standard, it can't be a 9 days wonder. It can't be one, oh, we sound great today and next day, oh, what is wrong with this child? It has to be consistent. So you have to work hard all the time. Yeah. I said, once you maintain a standard, people are going to recognize your work and you are going to get the support.
Yeah.
And Jennifer, so said, so done. Money just started pouring in. Because we wrote a lot of letters asking, and there was no response of any kind. And I was getting a little worried, but putting up a brave face, and doing the work. And then, and so we raised all the money to take these children. And I went back, I took them back to the Stepford in 2014 or 50, some year like that. Would you believe they remembered us?
Of course, because you all stood out.
Yes, I took the steel band as well, right? And I also took dancers. Because it was a complete folk music festival. Mm-hmm. And you have to perform the music of your country, right? So the last time we went, the steel band won their competition. We beat China. The Chinese were not happy at all. No, they were not pleased.
All troop represented bishops, or you got was from outside?
Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, they knew we were Bishop Anstey High School because that's how we represented. Yeah. Okay. We also had soloists who entered. I had a girl who came second in the what you call Broadway category. It was really, really an amazing. One of my girls actually, who also went to Diamond Vale, but she's a younger one. when I took them, I think it was to Europe or South Africa, one of those trips, and we always would pass through London, spend about a week in London, because I mean, you reach out there, go and see,
Yes.
you know, visit the sites, and we would always do a concert in London. And she went to see, it might have been the
Lion King?
Lion King or something like. And that child decided that this is what she was going to do with her life. So between all the performances and seeing this, and her parents supported her, and that is what she went and she studied, and she has an amazing voice. And I wish her all the best. And I hope that now that COVID is over, she's going to get the opportunities to really go out there and do what she loves. And I tell people that it's important to do what you love. Because to me, my 40 odd years as a teacher was never arduous, was never boring. Yeah, it was tiring at times. I have 2 children, you know, but it was love. And so I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'm sorry that I had to retire because I was not ready to retire.
Lorraine, first let me congratulate you again, because I always admire and will recommend you highly all the time. Yeah. You know, what you have done, and last week we spoke about that with Brian Lewis when we talk about dreams and setting goals and not putting limits to yourself.
Yeah.
And because of that, you're able to pass that on to the students to dream big. And I know from the time that first experience, that first international experience, is no stopping them after that, because that's you continued. Right. And of course, the parents are made all excited and proud, and the money will come. You set the goals because that excitement, and not just that, you created so many other professionals as a result. And I'll say professionals in the field, because you spoke about the arrangers, the singers, I could be wrong, but I remembered at some stage we had an opera singer that I believe she would have come from Bishop's also, did very well overseas. Recently, yeah. So you have done, I mean, tremendous work within the music industry, within the arts, and has really, I would say, raised the standard.
You know what, also, Jennifer, even if you have...
Because I mean, yeah. Go ahead, Lorraine, sorry.
I was going to say that even if you have children who didn't necessarily go into the arts, wherever they went and whatever they did it with a sense of confidence, with a sense of self, that I can, I am, this is who, you know, and
of course,
again, that is what these experiences give to children as they grow into adults. You know, that sense of I am, I can be, I can do.
Of course. And they get that experience beyond Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
So imagine you go to London to do a concert. You feel so appreciated. You can tell, imagine, here am I from Trinidad in London doing a concert. I mean, and that could have only been achieved through your vision and putting things together to take them there. Because as you said, you had no one there to say yes. Well, you did find a teacher to champion you along. Yeah. But basically, it's with your efforts and your dream, your vision, that has been achieved. And that is fantastic. That's fantastic, you know. And Lorraine, so you continue on. You talked about retirement. We don't talk about retirement and connections 50+. We talk about transition. But most cases with our guests is that they really transition. You may be, yes, have to leave the formal workplace because of the requirement of age, etc. But you continue with your passion. And in your case, your transition, you're definitely continuing with your passion. Tell us a bit about your choir. that you have formed, you know?
Well, it was always something that I wanted to do.
Mhm.
As I got closer, as I got older, actually, because I realized that, okay, this one school and these children would have had the benefit of somebody like me.
Yeah.
But in many other schools, they don't have those
Yeah.
opportunities, you know. And it was always a dream of mine to start a choir for children in other schools, for anybody, children who wanted to sing. And I just said, okay, I'm going with it. So a few friends got together with me, you know, to share my dream. And eventually, I can't remember if the name came before or after. I couldn't think of a name. So Huddersfield Youth Choir is a bit of an unexciting name, but I am not, names don't matter to me too much.
Right.
And so we had auditions. We practiced. We were so honored and so grateful to be given permission to use UTT on Keith Street. So we rehearsed on a Saturday after lunch, and I'm hoping, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that now COVID is over, they will allow us, please, to use it again. Please,
Yeah.
please, please. if anybody
Restart,
can
yeah.
pay. Yeah. And we got a choir going. It was work because, of course, most of these children were non-singers in that sense,
Right. Yes.
you know, and very shy, and so particularly the girls. Interesting that the girls
It's a mixed choir. So it's
mixed choir.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, and but you know me, I put on my blinkers and I do any work. So I pull in it, whatever. I'm
enjoying the challenge.
Enjoying it thoroughly. And so we actually took part in the music festival, the last festival as we know it. And we actually won a choir category. I'm so proud because they worked so hard for things. Yeah. We performed, actually, we were asked, again, such an honor, to sing at the opening of the newly renovated Whitehall. Okay. So we sang the anthem and one of the national songs. We were again asked to sing at President's House when it was formally opened, after the renovation and so on. So we got a lot of amazing, these children, they were just so proud of you
course.
know, yeah, really, really, really. And then, of course, COVID came along, and so we had to stop. So I am now in the process of getting things back up and running. I'm going to put it up there, going to the schools, because you know what? That's the other thing that saddens me. This country is so full of talent of all
Yes,
types.
all the time. Yes.
We have some good children out there who could really sing, they could drum, they could do all sorts of things. But the opportunities, yes, you're going to school, yes, you have a music teacher, yes, you have a this teacher, yes, you have a that teacher. But it takes more than that, you know. And so I am hoping to be able to provide that once I get health and strength, you know, to provide those opportunities. I would love to get my choir up and running to the point where I can take them on a trip.
Again.
Because, you know, when you see the effect on these children, you tell yourself, yeah, you know, it's worth all the stress and the sleepless nights and the worrying, oh God, if they're singing good, if they remember the words, all this stuff that you quietly worry about, that you don't tell anybody that you worry about. Kind of
so
thing.
what age group for that, for your choir?
High school and maybe beyond, like young adults. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And they can just if someone is interested, because listening in, and you may have the parent, because this is really a 50+ show, but you would have the parents who think, oh, God, my child can sing, my son or my daughter sings well and would love to be part of the choir. They can give you a call and
yes,
audition.
The one thing I insist on is parental involvement.
Yeah.
Right? You have to come, you have to drop your child, you have to pick your child up.
Yeah,
if we have a
yeah, you have to
meeting,
be
because
committed.
it's not like school where you drop your child and no, you have to be,
No.
and children have to see that you are interested and involved. And so
Yeah, I
it's
totally agree with
important.
that.
Yeah, it's important to have parental involvement. And with my last group, I really had a good group of parents. They were always there. When we had to get uniforms and whatever. Yeah, yeah, you know.
But
Like
do
if
you
one
do?
time, Mhm.
Now, just about to ask, in addition, I know it's a choir, but do you also have those like musical instruments that you do? You know, they can do a bit of music at the side.
No, because it's just one day a week.
Okay, all right.
Because remember, this is the lessons generation, and these are high school children.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
Monday to Friday,
time.
everybody is in
It's
lessons.
time. Okay.
That's why we rehearse on a Saturday after lunch, you know, because other than that, you're not going to get that. It would have to be a really special, like when we were preparing, we sang for Carrie Fest, and we sang actually for the opening of the law term about 3 years ago. That was our first big.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, it was really scary. I was so nervous because this is their first public performance, and how public, this is the people's law opening of their law.
Well, the fact that your choir was chosen, that says a lot. There are a lot of faith in you, knowing that what you can do. And
But,
they're
oh
assuming
Lord.
that definitely your choir would be one of the best.
Yeah,
So,
oh my God.
Yeah.
But
And
it was really
choir, so
amazing.
that's great. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Aaron, at this stage, outside of all this music consuming you, what else is there in terms of at this stage in your life? How, well, I don't know, you may not have much time to all your time has been taken up with music, but what else is there to Lorraine? You know, what do you do?
You know, people ask me this all the time, and I am a little bit ashamed to say that I don't really have too many other interests.
Oh, that's okay.
No,
Yeah.
I recently joined a choir.
I know about to say join a choir.
Yes, but of adults. And having not the last choir that I sang in outside of school, when I was in school, I was in a group called New World Performers, and people older than me would remember, hopefully. New World Performers, and then the Lydians, because I was a foundation member of the Lydians. But that was like about 3 to 4 decades ago.
Okay.
So it is very interesting now, after all these years, singing in a choir. And I now have to learn words. And I laugh at myself because I have not to learn words for, oh my God. You know, I would tell them, hey, listen, you all have to learn your words. And da, 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 da.
So now you do it.
I am being told you have to learn your words. You know, it's really interesting. If there are any adults out there, I might as well put a plug in for the choir.
Sure.
And you know, you like to sing, you can sing, you have a voice and you like to sing. We are open, male and female, we are open. We practice once a week on a Thursday at Belmont Boys, what was Belmont Boys Intermediate. They are called St. Francis now.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's fun. I mean, I always love to sing, and it's fun.
What you can do also, you could let us have a number for them to give you a call.
Oh no, yeah, I can give you my number, but they can just come. You know, my number is 739 6926.
Okay, so we'll have it up on the screen for those who are very interested in joining the choir.
If you're interested in joining the choir or having any young person sing, give me a call. Because listen, singing is such a powerful thing. Music is such a powerful thing, especially positive music. I have a great beef with the kind of music that young people are exposed to now. It's violence and sex and just ugliness, as I call it, ugliness. And we don't need that. Our young people don't need that. We need things that are beautiful.
Of course, uplifting,
Uplifting, not, oh my gosh, and sometimes I wonder where we went wrong, because we didn't grow up like that.
No, it's a different time, and of course you're competing with the television, the social media, etc., which is a
Um,
completely different,
yeah,
fun. It's a
yeah,
different
yeah,
thing.
it is.
You
It
don't
is.
have as many the concerts. I was so happy recently when I saw the introduction again of 12 and under
Yes.
and they are the show for children because that I mean, well, of course I grew up in a time with Auntie K and then you go
Yeah.
into this and then you
Yeah.
look forward for it. And a lot of the persons in the arts now came
Those
out of
came
that
out.
type
Yeah.
of
Starting for
in
talent and
part of
having
the show,
fun.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it is really, I was really happy to see that they're bringing back that and the start of, for the children to go and have
And
that
even playing, even the
experience.
steel pan, there's so much
Oh,
that
yes.
playing the pans can do for young people. And we used to have the steel band music festival where they play classical music. That died and it's dead and buried and must be the bones
It is
blowing
sad
in the
back to steel
breeze.
band in
What?
school, all right? They haven't.
Listen. There used to be pan in school, there was a whole unit,
Yeah.
and at some point it was stopped. And I don't know, there are pans in schools because
Yeah,
a
but
lot of
not
schools are
not
big
that
on pan.
not as before, how it was set up before.
Well, I mean, if the instruments are there and the teachers are there, there's no reason why they can't be teaching, right? That is just me. I never waited for anybody. I
Yeah.
just did. I mean, at one point, when I was still at school, I had because it's always difficult to find an accompanist. People don't play the piano. Children's parents send them off to learn to play the piano by third form. That's it, because of
Yeah.
course, lessons generation. So you don't find a lot of people who are good pianists anymore, not like how it was. So finding an accompanist is really, really a challenge. There are very few, I can count them on one hand. And eventually I said, well, you know what? I can use my band as their accompanist. And so I would teach her, and they learned how to read the music. That's the other thing. I was insistent that they learn to read. You can't just playing by ear. No, yeah, it's
Yeah.
fine, but you have to learn to read the music, you know. And so I had my ready-made accompaniment, and girl, I can go on and on,
But it
but
is important. I'm glad we have you here as a guest to reaffirm how important it is and for us to encourage the young people, to
yeah,
get involved in the arts. It could be music, it could be, dance, whatever. And as you said, they have been pushing sports a lot, which is very good. But music, you know, when you could see a group of young people, like how you have that choir and they're representing at those important functions, man, you feel so proud.
yeah.
Because Lorraine, without that, then what happens? What will, I mean, what would be the program be like? You
And
understand?
not just the music, there's art, there's
Yeah,
drama, there's
the
that.
drama.
I mean, and we have so much to up. Listen, it really, really hurts me when I think of the talent that just has been going down the drain over the decades.
I
You
am
know?
from the time with the Better Village, and we used to
Yeah,
go to the
yeah.
savannah to see all the different, shows, etc.
I was so happy to see that Hazel Franco was honored in the national award. She's a dancer, choreographer, teacher,
Yes.
and I was really, really happy for that. But again, this is where the passion comes in, and if you don't have the passion, sure, you
Yeah.
just go and you teach, but you have to offer more than that. And you have to
Yeah.
offer children, you have to give children your best self. I tell my students that all the time. Give children your best self,
Mhm.
and then just watch them so in whatever area they choose to go, whatever direction, you know,
I
because we have to build, saying that we have to try to rebuild this lovely country of ours,
Yes, build
you
that
know.
community again. I was about to ask you,
Mhm.
And you started there by saying that we have to allow our children to develop and to grow and to give them that space. What would you say to our 50 plus cohort? Some of us have our grandchildren, some have adults children, you know. Um, what would you say? How can we help in developing the arts, you know, to encourage the younger ones to get involved?
Well, I would say, in many ways, one way is like reading for your grandchildren. Reading is an amazing thing. You read stories, you read the Bible, you read whatever. You make it interesting. You add a sense of drama to it, you know.
Yes.
Use all the voices and right. You can do that. If you're in a position, because not everybody is, you can be the taxi driver to pick up and drop, whether it is to whatever class, you know, whether it's swimming or karate or dance or whatever, right? Be that person if you are able.
Yeah.
You can offer your time if you have skills like, I know, crochet, making stuff, crafts, art. You can offer your time and your services to the children around you. You know, so find what you are good at, find the things that you enjoy, the things that you can do. And just simply talking to young people and not lecturing them and doing on because they don't listen anyway.
Yeah,
right?
so we have to be careful the difference between you talking to them
Yeah,
and the lecturing.
yeah. And you have to listen. You have to listen to them to hear where their heads are at and then try to find little ways to, you know, push them in another direction and in another way of thinking. But get them involved. I remember I was chatting with my younger daughter recently, and another young person was reminding me that their parents kept them so busy that they had no time to get up to shenanigans. And I was telling my daughter, and she said, "Well, mommy, you did the same thing."
You know,
We had to, yeah, you have to keep
I could
children
relate
busy.
to that. Yeah, you get them
It
involved in
keeps you
different
busy.
things.
Yeah, you become the taxi driver, pick up, drop, sit down, wait, whatever. But it's only for a time.
Yeah.
You know, it's only for a time. And in the end, it pays off. So there's a lot that is, you know, 50 plus that we can do once we are able.
Yeah.
As I say, find what you like, find what you're good at, and you offer it. Yeah.
And you have been doing that. And not just that, in doing that, Lauren, you are making, you know, we talk a lot about society today and crime and all the things that we complain about and not checking ourselves to see we could be the solution. Simple things. And it's not about money, but you know, we can be selfish. We can be
We
very
are selfish and
you know, I want to try to put it, I'm trying to put it nice.
no, we have become a very selfish society. And as adults, we all are guilty.
Yeah.
I mean, a simple thing like you're driving and you hear an ambulance, a siren, and nobody takes it on. I mean, I am always so amazed and horrified that nobody will take. They have to be actually on your bumper and blowing for you to kind of, okay, let me move, right? Simple things like people breaking the red light. I mean, like simple, and these are people who will criticize the government and criticize and da, da, da. We don't see how we are part of the problem. Every single, and I'm not taking myself out, every single one of us is part of the problem. And if we all recognize that and we all fix ourselves, oh God, we would really be living in paradise.
Yeah, we could contribute in so many different ways.
Yeah, because it's the everyday. I mean, when you walk into an office and people kind of look at you like, no, you come here. I mean, really? This is your job and you want more money. You're making all these
Yeah.
demands and you don't want to work. People don't want to work. You bring somebody to work, whether it's to do gardening or whatever, and they do a halfway kind of job and they don't understand what is your story.
Yeah, and
Because
it's all about money. It's all about money.
yeah, and we have become so accustomed to mediocrity, right? We have become so accustomed to mediocrity that we don't even see, right? So that and again, that's one thing I insisted with all my children. And no, we have to do it properly. We
Yeah.
have to do it well, and we have to do it all the time. It can't be a one-time something. No, and it's work.
Yeah. It has to become part of you.
That's right.
That's a way of life.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you just be kind, you offer good service, you do what you have to do, and you reach out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have to lead by example. Because we can't say, oh, we should be doing that and we should be doing it. It's always the other person who should be doing it. And we are very good at that. It's always the other person. We don't see ourselves. So that's one of our real feelings. I don't know. And yeah.
Lauren, I want to thank you for chatting with us because, all that we say here on this show and all that we believe in as listeners, you may not see Terry-Ann with me right now. You're going to see her at the community segment when we're talking about community. But Lauren, if Terry-Ann was here, we would say the same thing. At this stage in our lives, we have to release, be kind, be grateful, reach out to others and appreciate and our talent. We all have some sort of talent and skills.
Yeah.
All right. In your case, and what that we are passionate about. And you have shown you're very passionate about music. Your life is music, but it brings you that joy. And you, because of that, others, you're mentoring others. And that is, that is what community building is all about. So we say, we have to check out ourselves again, know what skills, what talents we do. Actually, Lorraine, my thing is, I always like dealing with people. So I came out of the insurance industry where I dealt with people all the time. And when I, as you say, retired from that, transition from there, the first thing I was thinking, Jennifer, how can you use your talent and skill?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was chatting with people, meeting others, making a difference in their lives. And then I could have related, I felt, persons within my age group. Because so many people will come chat with me and I'm being on the field, we'll chat and I understand your situation. So I decided, what, let me formalize it. So I went to be certified as a life coach, added my other, experience with it, met Terry-Ann, and we thought, let us create this program where we could chat, have persons like yourself who, have offered so much to the community, did so much to come and share your story, which will motivate for your listeners, to go out there. And I mean, Lauren, all your time, it's a lot of time, spending with the choir, and then you join choir, and then, So I thank you so much for being with us here this evening, that you have shared a fantastic story, and I expect you to be getting some calls for persons who want to, join the choir. Yeah. So
Jennifer,
any last words, anything you want to say before
you asked me what would I have been, or what am I interested in now that I have transitioned? And I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, I spend a lot of time talking to people, talking to parents, advising, listening. And I'm just thinking to myself, this is a good thing to formalize, perhaps it would give me, because my daughters complain, okay, Mommy, I can't go anywhere with you. You just always meet people and you have to stand up and talk, Yeah.
Yes, because people reach out to you.
Yeah.
And that is a gift you have, and you may not never really recognized it as a gift in such a way. But I am sure we will hear the people saying, oh, they're so happy when they spoke to you, it made a difference. They won't be able, they were able to make such a decision, etc. So that's the next gift for you, to just hold that gift and go out there. But you're doing it already, yeah? You're just more aware. You're more aware now, and as you say, formalize it in a different way. And then we have done this, and we say, well, how come you all have started this? And Terrian and I, we always share that we weren't friends before. We connected because we had that similar goals and what we wanted to do. And when we chatted, we say, okay. And we didn't let, and then we say we are 10 years different, and it didn't make, that goal. We can reach persons, chat with them, and make a difference.
Yes.
So, welcome to the 50 Plus tribe.
Yeah. Wow.
And continue all success to you, Lorraine. I am so proud that, and happy that you're here with us. You made a big difference, to my trend and their development from Diamond Vale Primary and, Zara for her music. Wow. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, for having me, considering me, and for all these kind words.
It's a fact. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you so much. And all the best with your show. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Listen, Lorraine Granderson is one of our national gems, our national heroes. I'm sure you identify with the choirs that she dealt with. I'm sure that many of you would identify with those teachers who would have inspired you to stand in front of an audience and say a poem, recite a short story, do some folk dancing, ballet dancing, parang dancing, or some kind of performance skill. I so identify with what she has said in terms of how performance arts and the ability or the opportunity to stand in front of an audience, no matter how small. Sometimes it's just having some member of the family stand in front of the family and say something to the family. Maybe it's to sing happy birthday on the birthday celebrations. It does something to all of us. And I don't think it is something that benefits just the young. I think it is something that can add to our lives at any stage, even now. So Lorraine has talked about joining up a choir and helping youth and so on. But let's look at another option. Hey, we have all kinds of talents and skills. Why don't we, in terms of building our friend circle, get together and have some poetry reading? We don't have to be in the Grand Slam. Tell some stories. Hey, this is what Jennifer and I do all the time. So listen, life beyond the Jubilee is phenomenal. We all have our stories in our own way, and we are just so glad to be able to bring it to you. But think again. Get together with some friends in the neighborhood and have a monthly performance concert. Use yourself as your audience, it's okay. So we hope you really enjoyed this program. Remember, we talked about friends and friend circle and meeting up, and we said we're going to be doing stuff. Well, mark your calendars. We're going on an outing for the day. So, to a beautiful place to have a beautiful time. Here's a little peek as to what we're going to do. You know what to do. See you next week and enjoy La Vega.
Friends, the big day is Friday, the 21st of October. Join us for some fun at La Vega Nature Park. Visit the garden center and shrines. The cost is only $200. Includes transport, curry lunch, and refreshments. We would meet at the Grand Bazaar for 9 a.m. and leave La Vega at 4 p.m. So book early. Call Jennifer at 685-8834 or Terry-Ann at 682-9202. We look forward to liming with you. Bye.
50 Plus Tribe and follow us from Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean.
Thank you for joining us. on this Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Alive show.
We hope you enjoyed the lively conversation and look forward to seeing you next week.
Don't forget to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We really love getting your feedback. Bye for now.